Greetings everyone, welcome back to the channel. Got another police interaction review for you today. This interaction comes to us from Shannon Antinori's channel and took place at approximately 5 a.m. on September 27th of 2023 outside of the Undisputed Gym in Joliet, Illinois. The context for this interaction is somewhat contradictory and confusing. The description of the video claims that the officers made contact with the owner of the gym, Brandon Kelly, because they had received a noise complaint from one of the neighboring businesses. But seconds into the video, it seems like the primary responding officer says that they don't actually have a complaint. It seems like the officer was just driving by and happened to hear the noise and decided to stop and make contact. But we'll talk about that more a little bit later in the video. Let's just roll it and take a look.
I'm trying to talk to you.
20 and 20.
What's going on?
Yeah,
we got a ongoing issue. I mean, we don't got a complaint, but it's an ongoing issue. I just want to talk to him. He just rushed me out. He's like, get the fuck out of here, I ain't giving you shit. I'm like, you're not gonna turn me? He's like, no, I'm gonna do that shit.
Do they usually open at this time?
I mean, it's a gym, I get it, but like, it's like, you know? Not going to issue with the guy. I literally walked in. I know it's a business gym or whatever. Because like, you know, me out. I
about to get fucking sued for harassment. This is private fucking property.
Okay, but
this is private property. You're about to get sued for harassment. You do not sit here in front of my motherfucking gym and cause fucking disturbance. No, fuck you. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me today. No, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You guys are sitting here fucking staring at my shit. These guys don't pay $50 a month gym. I don't give a fuck. I think she's a fucking. She is. I don't give a. You don't need to tell me what the fuck to do. No, you don't. What the fuck are you gonna do to me? You ain't gonna do shit. That person is known for fucking having a mental disability. It is in court, fucking documented. That's right. So you go. It's coming. No, I already did. I already hired a fucking. You are. Why am I fucking yelling? Because you're disturbing my motherfucking class. You guys are staring in here. What the fuck are you doing rolling 4 deep?
Alright, so before we go any further, let's talk about Joliet's noise ordinance. So their town's noise ordinance is particularly vague. It's kind of difficult to assess whether or not it would actually apply here. The code lays out some very subjective guidelines for when a noise is considered an actual disturbance. But then it goes on to provide 2 highly specific examples of when this code would be enforced. And it seems to specifically focus on the use of fireworks and horn devices, neither of which would apply in this situation. But the state of Illinois does have its own noise-related codes, thanks to the Environmental Protection Act, and this law is a little bit more specific than the Joliet Code, and it states that, quote, "No person shall emit beyond the boundaries of his property any noise that unreasonably interferes with the enjoyment of life or with any lawful business or activity." While this code certainly does still leave room for interpretation and scrutiny, it seems to me like this could be a legitimate law that could be enforced here if someone had actually complained about the noise at the time that this encounter took place. So the point I'm trying to make here is that although the local laws are somewhat vague, there are sometimes state laws that supersede those that are a lot more specific and offer a lot more guidance in regards to what an officer can and cannot enforce. So again, if there was a complainant and they arrived on the scene based on a complaint, then the state law would pretty much cover them for making contact with Brandon. They wouldn't really need more evidence beyond that to justify their presence there. But that doesn't really seem to be what took place, as the officer stated at the beginning of the video that they did not actually have a complaint. But there's more to the story, so let's let it roll out and we'll see what happens.
You're fucking about to get sued for... Shut the fuck up.
All I was asking for your ID. That's
you ain't getting shit. You're about to get fucking sued for harassment.
You're gonna.
You don't gotta do shit. You're on private fucking property. I don't gotta do shit. I already went through this for 5 fucking years. You're disrupting my motherfucking.
No, you are disrupting it. You are causing the scene. If you give this officer your information,
shut the fuck up. You're not allowed in here. We're not the fuck allowed in here. We're not allowed fucking in here. Fucking cocksucking motherfucker. You're ripping my fucking shoulder.
Get off his back.
You're ripping my fucking shoulder. You're ripping my shoulder.
I'm not going.
You're ripping my shoulder.
Relax. Step back.
Ah, my fucking shoulder.
Get off his back. I'm taking away off. He's not doing his job. He came in here. You have no right to be in this building. No.
Oh, God damn it, my fucking leg.
20 from Central, do you have anyone?
We're 10 now.
No.
In the meantime, this shit goes down the block.
I'm not. Motherfucker.
You guys made a big deal coming here.
Roll on your butt.
Fucking cocksucker.
Are you kidding me? You see what he was doing? Are you serious? Back
No,
up.
what? There was 4 or 5.
Oh, you on your butt, right? And he was hitting us in the
But do
face
you
too.
think
So.
you need to tase him?
Yeah, he got tased. It's over with. Enough.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll you on your butt. Come on. Get up. Kick your foot forward.
My motherfucking leg. God damn it.
Which leg hurts?
The left, the one that fucking tases in.
Okay. Alright, hang on.
But you're fine.
Oh, fuck.
I
think I'm good.
But you got a bust.
I'm good. Get up this way.
Look what you guys just did on a fucking Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock.
Alright, turn up on your side. Alright, we're gonna sit you up. Which way's easier for you to turn? This way? Alright, kick your underneath there. On up. Alright, stand up. Alright.
Mark out this way.
Alright, things got heated there. Let's talk about the legality of that arrest. So in most cases, officers don't actually need a complaint to investigate criminal activity. The standard for reasonable suspicion is very low, and that is intentional. Reasonable suspicion is a much less demanding standard than probable cause, and probable cause is what gives an officer the authority to make an arrest, whereas reasonable suspicion only grants them the authority to investigate. The difference between the two is not necessarily the factual basis required to establish them, but more so the degree of certainty required to legally effectuate them. So for example, if an officer thought he saw someone stealing a car is very different from if an officer personally witnessed someone stealing a car, especially in regards to their ability to detain, arrest, and identify people. It's also important to note that Illinois is a stop and ID state, which means that officers only need to establish reasonable suspicion in order to demand someone to identify themselves. So what this essentially boils down to is that officers really only need to think you've committed a crime in order to force you to identify yourself in the state of Illinois and any other stop and ID state. And if you refuse to ID yourself once they inform you that they think you have committed a crime, then you can be arrested. In this situation, although the officer did say that there was no complaint and that initially he only wanted to talk to Brandon, he probably had reasonable suspicion to suspect that Brandon may have violated a local or state level noise ordinance, which would also grant him the authority to demand Brandon to identify himself. And considering that Brandon refused to identify himself, the officers were within their authority to arrest him for that. So regardless of whether or not there was a complaint in this particular instance, the officers did mention that this wasn't the first time that they had had complaints, and that this seemed to be an ongoing issue. So that information, combined with the officer personally witnessing loud music emanating from the business, was probably enough to establish that reasonable suspicion. Now that's not to say that Brandon wouldn't have a legal defense to a charge like this. He could definitely argue that the noise ordinance was too vague, or that his loud music actually didn't constitute a violation of these codes, but these are arguments better left for the courtroom not on the street. And simply providing his ID probably would have been the right thing to do here. Now granted, there are probably a lot of complexities and information that we simply don't know about this interaction, specifically about the prior complaints and how they apply to this situation. But the point of this is to show you how low the bar for reasonable suspicion really is, and it's something that you need to be prepared for if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. As I've said many times before on this channel and ATA, it's always best to fight your legal battles in the courtroom, not on the street, and to comply with any arrest regardless of how unlawful you believe it to be. Everything else can be sorted out in the courtroom. But anyway, that's obviously not the path that Brandon chose here, so let's see how this plays out.
He was hitting him in the face. He was punching him and stuff. He ain't got hit in the mouth.
You tried to punch him in the face, right?
Yeah.
What was he hitting him with? His face?
Everyone's still on until I turn back on. So if you guys here, what else do you need here? Anything from these people?
No, I didn't make contact.
They're not getting their. That's not getting like
Is the boss coming? You resisted and you got injured. You're gonna have to come and
they don't do nothing with them.
I'm at the outside to him. I didn't even get to ask him. He didn't tell me shit. I asked him if he was the boss. He's like, I don't know anything.
Do you have any of his 43 yet?
Somebody's name was Brandon Kelly.
There's previous on him.
Yeah. Go ahead and take him down. Alright.
I'll have to do one of the blue team.
Yeah, probably who tased?
Probably.
We tased, okay. So stand scene. Go sorry. You can go down. Somebody go down with him. Look.
Right.
He punched you? So
I don't even know what happened. I didn't even know. My lip bleeding a little bit, but I don't even know what he hit me with.
So I mean, we went in for the obstructing ID.
Yeah.
He tensed up, egg assault,
Yeah.
right? And then resisted.
Yeah.
Okay, so the video pretty much ends there. The officers in the moment decide that they're gonna charge Brandon for refusing to ID and resisting, but ultimately he was only charged for 2 counts of resisting. During the scuffle, one of the officers sustained some minor injuries, but Brandon was not charged for that. One part of the encounter that a lot of people seem to be focused on in the comments and just on the internet in general is the fact that the officers actually entered Brandon's gym in order to arrest him, and a lot of people seem to think that they needed a warrant to do that, but that's simply not true. Police officers are well within their authority to pursue a suspect into a private business to arrest them. This is called the hot pursuit doctrine, and I've talked about that on many episodes of ATA. When Brandon decided to go back into his gym, he had already been lawfully ordered to present his ID to the officers, which means that he was being detained. Handcuffs are not a requirement for being considered detained, and if an officer has reasonable suspicion to believe that you've committed a crime, they can order you to stop and present your ID if you're in a stop and ID state like Illinois. When Brandon tried to cut off contact with the officers and force them out of his gym, he was likely committing the crime of resisting a peace officer. Like I've said many times, your home or whatever private property you own is not a safe haven for the crimes that you've committed in public. And getting to your house before the cops can arrest you does not absolve you of any crimes that you committed before that. And the same thing applies here. Brandon was suspected of committing the crime of failure to ID, and the officers were within their authority to enter his gym and arrest him for that crime. And once again, this interaction is a prime example of why you should always take up your battles with the police in the courtroom, not on the street, or in this case, in front of your gym. Like I said earlier, the right thing to do here would have been to present his ID when he was asked for it and file a lawsuit for harassment or whatever constitutional violations he thinks is occurring here later. Brandon did in fact end up hiring an attorney, and he intends to fight the charges of resisting. He also made a brief statement after this encounter, and I'll show you that now.
Let's just get right to it. I'm out. I'm okay. Everything's good. Couple nicks. Nothing too crazy. I appreciate you guys, your support. I apologize if anybody got hurt or offended. Just know that I'm huge on respect. It's a two-way street. And I respect the law enforcement. I respect my city. I especially respect the members in the gym.
wholeheartedly. So I can't get into too much detail on this per counsel, but I do take this on the chin, and I will take my consequences and whatever comes with it. It's my, you know, whether good or bad, I'm gonna deal with it. All right. So I'm sure this will get out fast. Just know it is what it is till it ain't. Peace.
So all in all, it seems like Brandon has a pretty good attitude about all this. And of course, we all make mistakes, and I'm glad he's hired an attorney. And that's always the right thing to do, regardless of the public's opinion on your case or how public your case actually is. This case in particular seems to be pretty divisive online. A lot of people side with the officers, and then a lot of people think that Brandon was a victim of harassment. I don't really have a comment on that. You can draw your own conclusions with the information provided by the video. But I will say that this interaction to me seemed totally unnecessary and could have been avoided, and there was a lot to learn from both sides of this one. It'll be interesting to see how this case turns out and whether or not Brandon actually does file a civil suit against the city or the department or whoever, and I'll try to follow up whenever that happens. But anyway, that's all I got for you today, a quick little review. Let me know what you think in the comments, as always, and of course any likes, subs are greatly appreciated. Like I said in previous videos, I'm trying to grow this channel as much as possible, and I can't do that without your help. But that's it, the end of this video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching to the end, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.